All right, howdy. So, as many of you know, I have spent the last week of my life, which seemed more like the last several years, hooking up this bad boy to this setup here, specifically for the purpose of doing tape transfers. To do it, I had to augment my I/O because I had just this essentially 8 analog in and 4 analog out, and just kind of a basic I/O that's great for recording just about anything, up to the size of a small band, but it's not meant to do 24 ins at one time. So I had to get a unit that would allow me to bring in 24 analog ins at one time, which was not easy to find. As it turns out, the only one that I could find that was under a couple of grand or not custom made was by Motu, which is the 24 I/O. And I thank my friend Kenny in Nashville for finding it for me or selling it to me. It also comes with a PCIe card that goes in the Mac here. Then I spent several days, and you can see I've still got some VU meter lights that I'm working on back here, but I'll get those done. I got all the status lights working. And then what I had to do was let me get some light back here. Each of those multiple connectors you see here, all 6 of those, I had to wire up. And what I had to do was, these are the 3 that go to the auto locator. And then this is where there's supposed to be a cover in the back, but as you can see, I'm still working on some of the lights. But I had to run them all in here. So you can see what an amount of work that is. I soldered 6 of these 8-channel connectors, and they're balanced, so there were 24 connectors in each of those. I've spent the last several days working on that because I'm in the middle of sugaring season here for the farm, and so I never know exactly how much time I'm going to get. But I just now, after trying to convince myself to quit at 11, and then convincing myself to quit at 12, and then deciding I was going to keep going a little bit longer, at least get everything plugged in, I finally hooked back up all the audio pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and mute this, and did the fateful firing up of the tape, which is always the pucker moment, right? And so what you want to see happen here is you want to see 24 lights jumping up and down, and that's exactly what I got. You're hearing my headphones on here, which I also had to reroute that. I had to do a lot of I/O configuration within Pro Tools to get this all to work out. Now you can see I've got a little bit of calibration left to do on a couple of these levels. This is why I wanted to make sure that I got all this done, because ultimately I need to get all of these roughly equal. They're really pretty good. There's a couple that are a little bit low. But now if I turn on the audio here so you can hear what's going on, it's basically just sending test tones. It's not super exciting, but it is to me.
15 kilohertz.
That's like a dog whistle tone right there. That one's coming through good and strong, but you can see I've got some adjusting to do on 15 and 16 there for sure. But just to basically build all this out of scratch over the last week, and then have it essentially come together is really a thing of beauty. It really is. So I'm really super happy to see that. So more as I get things kind of straightened out and where they need to go in terms of the setup. I'll back up here a little bit just briefly. For those of you that are familiar with the way my studio was set up, I had the DAW set up over here. I have several of my other tape machines down here that I use, my 1/4 inch, my 1/2 inch cassette.
12 kilohertz.
And that's also pretty high. But what I had to do was I had a drum set over here and move the drum set out of the way because the only place that I can really go, even though this thing's got a 35-foot connector on it, only place I can realistically go with this machine is right where you're looking here. It's got to be in the room with me. I've got to be able to calibrate stuff on it. So absolutely important that I've got to be able to bring stuff in and take a look. Yeah, like I said, 15 and 16 and maybe a little bit on 24 there, but not much. All together looking really great. And I'm just super happy to have gotten here basically in not even 2 weeks, basically.
7.5 kilohertz.
Between finding the machine, getting it up here, and now getting it up here and basically ready to go. So if you've got some tapes and you would like to have them brought into the digital world, I can provide you with Pro Tools sessions, obviously. Can also do raw WAV or AIF files. Can do pretty much. Can do Logic
5
Pro
kilohertz.
as well. But you name it, I can transfer it. Now my next project, of course, now that I've got, I've had 8-track 1/2 inch covered for quite a while, and that actually will do mono through 8 tracks on a 1/2 inch just by how I plug the heads in. I'm set up here for a 4-track setup that I did for a guy off an AG440, and I can cover 1/4 inch in
2.5 kilohertz.
1/2 and 1/4 track as well as cassette. So the only thing I'm missing now is I need to get myself a 16-track 1-inch machine, and I need to do an awful lot of cleaning up in here because I've got to rearrange somewhere for that drum set to go. I don't know. He may go into the next room. We'll see. My wife's not here, so I might get away with it. But I just wanted to check in and let everybody know it all is hooked up and working.